2026 is shaping up to be a landmark year for the indie scene, delivering a staggering variety of action-adventure titles that rival the industry's biggest blockbusters in both style and substance. From folklore-infused epics to innovative genre blenders, here are the most promising indie action-adventure games coming out this year. We start with Mariachi Legends. Mariachi Legends is positioning itself as a defining mariachivania that brilliantly fuses high-octane action-adventure mechanics with the rich tapestry of Mexican folklore. Players assume the role of Pablo Cruz, a detective who strikes a deal with Death herself to save his hometown of Santa Mascota, granting him the power to transform into the supernatural entity La Sombra. Beyond its breathtaking pixel art that evokes the golden era of genre classics like Symphony of the Night, the game promises deep engagement through a dynamic day-night cycle that reshapes the world, a unique tarot card buff system, and the ability to cook traditional Mexican dishes to enhance combat prowess.
Hiding underneath was far worse.
PROHIBEAST reinvents the real-time tactics genre with a wildly creative noir twist, a stylized anthropomorphic 1930s Chicago where meat rather than drugs is the prohibited substance fueling the underworld. Players command Elliot Ness and his squad of untouchables, a team of specialists with unique skills ranging from sniping to brute force to dismantle Al Capone's black market meat empire. The game promises a hardcore stealth experience akin to Shadow Tactics, requiring players to exploit vision cones, manipulate the environment, and execute synchronized takedowns across iconic locations like the Loop and the Foggy Lake, Michigan docks.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Okko The Exiled is a vibrant 2D action platformer that promises to scratch the itch for fast, fluid combat with a satisfying sense of weight. Players take on the role of Okko, a horned hero armed with the mighty Fang, a massive club that isn't just for swinging, but for launching enemies into the air to execute gravity-defying juggle combos. Set in the demon-infested lands of Kutala, the game distinguishes itself with a focus mode mechanic that allows for tactical shield breaking and precision strikes, alongside a hub world called the Old Throne where players can trade and uncover lore. Forsaken Realms' Vahrin's Call is a narrative-driven action RPG that serves as a love letter to the era of handcrafted high fantasy adventures like Fable. Players step into the boots of a mercenary arriving in the war-torn city of Vahrin, a once great metropolis now overrun by grotesque insectoid creatures known as the Grayaks and abandoned by its allies. The game's standout feature is its refusal to use procedural generation. Every inch of the world, from the overgrown city streets to the magical caverns, is meticulously hand-designed to reward deep exploration with hidden secrets and environmental storytelling. Mechanically, it offers a refreshing classless progression system, allowing players to fluidly mix heavy melee combat, archery, and magic without restriction. Bogdan's Cross offers one of the most striking visual contrasts in the upcoming indie lineup. A gritty, historically grounded tale of the Crusades where the characters are anthropomorphic animals. Players control Bogdan, a humble shepherd turned Templar knight who happens to be a bear, in a world rendered with a unique living fresco aesthetic created using VR painting tools. Beyond its captivating art style, the game introduces a psychological faith and doubt system that directly impacts gameplay. High faith unlocks powerful, purifying combat abilities, while doubt makes Bogdan's attacks erratic and leaves him vulnerable to fear.
To bear his light.
They will question if you are worthy.
Nocturnal 2 ambitiously expands its series from a linear action platformer into a full-blown Metroidvania. Players return as Ardashir, a master of the enduring flame, who must navigate the hand-drawn, Persian-inspired city of Yatash, a non-linear world swallowed by a deadly supernatural darkness. The core loop revolves around a tense fire preservation mechanic. Ardashir's sword must remain ablaze to damage enemies and solve environmental puzzles, forcing players to frantically dash between torches before the shadows snuff them out. Combat has been overhauled into a flashy, juggle-heavy system that encourages launching foes into the air for aerial combos, while new traversal abilities like teleportation add depth to exploration. Emberville is shaping up to be a fascinating genre blender that pitches itself as Diablo meets Stardew Valley. Players awaken in the Vitrimotus, a vast underground magical prison where death is temporary, tasked with rebuilding the ruined town of Emberville while battling through procedurally generated biomes. The game promises a unique loop that balances high-octane 8RPG combat, featuring a deep, inherited skill system where abilities can be transferred between classes, with cozy life sim elements like farming, fishing, and creative base building.
Find a safe place.
Sagas of Lumin is an ambitious open-world action RPG that aims to fulfill the ultimate fantasy of true dragon riding. Unlike games where mounts are mere vehicles, this title promises a dragon flight system that feels alive, giving players granular control over aerial maneuvers, dogfights against rival beasts, and scorched earth fire attacks. Ground combat is equally robust, blending martial arts-inspired melee with steampunk firearms and magic, allowing for a seamless flow between fighting on foot and taking to the skies. The game features a deep narrative where players assume the role of a Dryer, a rare individual capable of bonding with dragons, and make choices that permanently reshape the political landscape of the world. Barkour injects a dose of high-speed hilarity into the stealth action genre by casting players as Agent Thunder, a highly trained secret agent who also happens to be a very good boy. Described as 007 meets Mirror's Edge with a tail, the game combines fluid, acrobatic platforming with gadget-heavy combat, allowing players to tackle missions with either silent stealth or guns-blazing chaos. The developers have placed a massive emphasis on authentic canine animation. While Agent Thunder can wield grappling hooks and railguns, he still chases his tail, gets distracted by smells, and moves with the weight and agility of a real dog.
Pass their knowledge to future generations.
Blighted marks a bold new chapter for Drinkbox Studios as their first ever 3D title, reimagining the Metroidvania genre within a psychedelic Western nightmare. Players take on the role of a lone survivor in a world corrupted by the Blight, a reactive force that functions as a dynamic difficulty system, morphing enemies and the environment in real time based on your performance. The game loop revolves around the morbidly fascinating mechanic where you must consume the brains of defeated bosses to absorb their memories, unlocking new skills and ethereal powers needed to traverse the twisted landscape.
Should you fall, pray.
ZWAARD is a stunningly atmospheric top-down action-adventure that takes the concept of living by the sword quite literally. Set in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by mysterious technology and mutated flora, the game's core hook revolves around a deep weapon customization system where players don't just find swords, they build them from scavenged parts, with every hilt, guard, and blade altering both stats and attack animations. The visual presentation is already turning heads with its high-fidelity pixel art, particularly its mesmerizing water effects and dynamic lighting that bring the ruined world to life. Bylina is a standout action RPG that offers a fresh, authentic dive into Slavic folklore, moving beyond the usual Western fantasy tropes. Players control Falconet, a would-be bogatyr born without powers who awkwardly dies in the opening moments, only to be resurrected by a mysterious spirit he must now share his body with. The game distinguishes itself with a combat system that rejects mindless button mashing in favor of precise, skill-based duels, where spacing and timing are everything. punishing impatience with brutal efficiency. Far from a generic open world, it features a curated, interconnected, guided Metroidvania structure, filled with gloomy dungeons and sunlit forests. Graytail is a Zelda-like action-adventure that stands out by blending charming retro aesthetics with a deeply psychological mystery. Set on a remote Pacific island, players control the daughter of a legendary female pilot who has vanished without a trace, teaming up with a detective to uncover the truth. The game distinguishes itself with a unique sanity narrative layer. The protagonist suffers from severe headaches and must take medication to distinguish between reality and terrifying hallucinations that warp the environment. Visually, it utilizes a striking 2.5D style that mixes pixel art characters with 3D backgrounds, similar to Octopath Traveler, but with a brighter, breezier island palette. Replaced is poised to be the definitive 2.5D cinematic masterpiece of the year, delivering a gritty, retro-futuristic thriller that bleeds style. Set in an alternate 1980s America ravaged by a nuclear event, players control Reach, an advanced AI trapped against its will in a human body, struggling to survive in the neon-soaked, crime-ridden sprawl of Phoenix City. The game's 2.5D aesthetic is a technical marvel, blending intricate pixel art with deep, three-dimensional environments and dynamic lighting that rivals big-budget blockbusters. Gameplay oscillates between tense cinematic platforming and a brutal, free-flow combat system inspired by Batman Arkham, where players must chain dodges, parries, and visceral takedowns to survive. At Fate's End sees the acclaimed storytellers at Thunder Lotus returning to their action roots with a heartbreaking twist, a game where you must fight the ones you love. Players control Sean, the heiress of the Hemlock clan, who wields the legendary god sword Asius in a bid to save her fractured family. The game introduces a revolutionary family tree system where your skill progression is directly tied to your relationships. Every duel is an emotional dialogue as much as a physical battle, requiring you to use psychological insight and shared history to exploit your siblings' weaknesses or find a path to reconciliation. Silver Pines is a striking survival horror Metroidvania that wears its Twin Peaks and Stephen King influences on its sleeve. Players step into the trench coat of Red Walker, a private investigator drawn to the titular half-abandoned town to track down a vanished musician named Eddie Velvet, only to find himself trapped in a nightmare that defies logic. The game distinguishes itself by marrying the interconnected exploration of a Metroidvania with the tension and scarcity of classic survival horror. Players must scavenge for every bullet and health tonic while navigating a 2.5D world that feels oppressive and alive.
These human sacrifices must be stopped.
Bloodstained, the Scarlet engagement marks Koji Igarashi's triumphant return to the Gothic castle, promising the most ambitious and polished Igavania experience to date. This direct sequel to Ritual of the Night sees Miriam venturing into a new, shifting demon fortress manifest from a blood pact gone wrong, the titular Scarlet engagement. The game evolves the franchise's signature mechanics with the new Synergy Shard system, allowing players to fuse demon souls mid-combat for screen-clearing combination attacks, and a refined alchemy system that turns enemy drops into game-breaking gear. Nightmare Circus offers a deceptively charming twist on the action-adventure genre, blending cute visuals with a dark, perilous atmosphere reminiscent of Death's Door or Tunic. Players control a small hooded puppeteer who is trapped in the nightmare realm and must fight to escape. But the twist lies in the weapon of choice, a set of mechanical puppet arms and strings attached to their back. The game features a unique collision combat system where you don't just strike enemies, you use your strings to grapple, bind, and literally smash foes into one another to deal massive chain damage. This link mechanic also doubles as a puzzle-solving tool, allowing players to conduct electricity or trigger switches by connecting objects in the environment. 1348 Ex Voto is a grounded cinematic action-adventure that trades fantasy tropes for the brutal reality of 14th century Italy. Players step into the armor of Eta, a young knight-errant searching for his lost companion, Bianca, in a world ravished by the Black Death and political collapse. Unlike the lo-fi aesthetic I mistakenly mentioned before, this game aims for high-fidelity realism, delivering a gritty, immersive experience where the horror comes from the plague and human desperation, rather than monsters. The combat is meticulously based on historical European martial arts, requiring players to master authentic swordplay techniques, spacing, and stamina management, rather than flashy superpowers.
Enjoy doing the things I've done.
At the bottom of this well.
Well Dweller is the latest project from Kyle Thompson, the dev behind Crypto Custodian. Moving into a 3D space while retaining his signature charm and tight mechanical feel, Thompson tasks players with exploring the depths of a massive, ancient well filled with strange creatures and forgotten technology. The gameplay loop centers on a satisfying drill and dash mechanic, where players use a versatile mining tool to navigate vertical environments and dismantle robotic foes in fast-paced, fluid combat. While the shift to 3D is a major leap, the game stays true to Thompson's roots by focusing on a world that feels interconnected and cozy yet dangerous, populated by eccentric NPCs and secrets tucked away in every crevice. Become the closest to release in this list, Forgotlings returned to the magical world of the Forgotten Lands with a breathtaking cinematic action-adventure that significantly ups the ante from its predecessor, Forgotten Anne. Players step into the wooden joints of Fig, a gifted posing doll, on a quest to unite warring factions of lost objects and save their world from fading into nothingness. While it retains the stunning, Ghibli-esque hand-drawn animation that made the original a cult classic, Forgotlings evolves the gameplay loop by introducing a robust, real-time combat system where Fig uses anima not just to solve puzzles, but to execute stylish hack-and-slash combos and energy blasts. The game also introduces Volition, a deep, strategic, in-universe board game that plays a central role in the narrative and diplomacy.
Prophecies wither and die.
If you do this, the world will end!
So that is the video. Which game are you waiting for? Or do you have other games outside the list? Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.